these, all set against the backdrop, as you were saying, this wonderful colour.
And here they come. Lunch will be over. They'll have been driven to Windsor Great Park and then got into these magnificent carriages led by the Windsor Greys. And our pictures will be beamed around the racecourse in a second, and you'll get the first ooh and ah. And these pictures will be watched round the world. This is always very, very special. And any minute now we get our first glimpse of Her Majesty the Queen.
Well, the guessing game today is over because it's pink. Mark, you've got all the details of this wonderful outfit.
The cheers are incredible, aren't they? There we can see. So Her Majesty today is wearing pink, as we can see. Starting off with the hat, it is a Rachel Trevor Morgan hat in cinnamon. And it's adorned with flowers, match the dress to perfection. The actual outfit is a Stuart Harvin creation, a self-checked tweed edge-to-edge A-line coat, and that's worn with a printed silk dress with a drop waist detail, pleated skirt in shades of lilac and pink.
And look at the way her son, the Duke of York, has colour coordinated his tie.
It's a lovely touch.
Lovely, isn't it?
We've seen the Duke of York in the carriage every day, actually, this week. And of course, you will be noticing at home that there has been a notable absentee from Ascot. Of course, the Duke of Edinburgh hasn't been here this week. He is now officially retired from public life, so I'm sure he's watching from home. But very nice that the Duke of York has stepped up to be seated alongside his mother. And we've got Sheikh Isa bin Salman Al Khalifa riding alongside in this first carriage. Now, he is the son of the King of Bahrain, who is very close to Her Majesty the Queen. In fact, the King of Bahrain was with Her Majesty the Queen for her 90th birthday celebrations. And that's his son, Sheikh Isa bin Salman Al Khalifa. I hope I pronounced that correctly. And they're also riding with Sir Nicholas Bacon, who you may have recognised. He was with the Queen at the Chelsea Flower Show only recently. He's the president of the Royal Horticultural Society. So a mixture of family and friends in this carriage.
Talking of horticultural, from a gentleman's point of view, on a big fashion day like today, Mark, some people go for roses, some go for what are called boutonnieres.
Boutonnieres.
Jason Weaver's a big fan of those.
He loves them, and I'm a big fan of them.
Some pocket squares. What's the etiquette? Anything goes?
From an etiquette, that's the thing. As far as I'm concerned, Royal Ascot is about colour. So I think colour and making sure, so whether it is a fabric one, so a boutonniere, or some of the fresh roses, is one of my favourite things to do. Is before I arrive, making sure what Charlotte's wearing, and I make sure I get a rose in some way to relate to her outfit.
I love a bit of colour coordination, so I think it always shows a little bit of thought, doesn't it, that you team up like that. And as you were saying, we see the Duke of York there, perfectly complementing his mother.
Katie, here's carriage 2.
Here is carriage 2, and we've got the Princess Royal looking resplendent, that beautiful turquoise colour. She's been in quite a lot of nude colours actually over the last couple of days, but she's really pulled the stops out of this gorgeous ensemble here, and she's with her husband, Vice Admiral Sir Tom Lawrence, and they are joined by Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie of York, of course, Prince Andrew's daughters. Again, they're great lovers of Royal Ascot, and we've seen a lot of them here this week, and they, I have to say, they've colour coordinated themselves very nicely too. They look absolutely beautiful, princesses.
Really striking hats, aren't they, actually? They're beautiful.
Well, that's it, I think. We won't forget, back in 2011, they got some stick for the hats that they wore. I have to say, I think they've toned it down beautifully over the past few years, and are turning into real kind of style icons themselves, looking absolutely stunning here. They look amazing on Tuesday as well. What I love as well is that we saw the two of them arrive at Royal Ascot on the Tuesday, but then go out to a party on the Tuesday night in complete opposite outfits. We had asymmetric roller morays, we had Valentino pumps, it was all going on there.
I think there was a leather jacket thrown in there as well.
Leather jacket and leather leggings, I tell you.
Well, absolutely, and Eddie was saying yesterday, and I was thinking about this, so true, that this is becoming very much a handing down of this passion for all things racing, this carriage procession to the next generation. So I think it's really special to see the younger generation here today.
And we must mention Zara, because there'll be a proud mum in there.
Oh, there will,
remind us what we learned earlier in the week.
Well, we had some breaking news just before we were on air on our first day of Royal Ascot, that Zara Phillips had her second baby. She's given birth to a little baby girl, and you've seen Anne just full of smiles all week because she's become a grandmother again, and of course for the Queen, a great grandmother again, so a lot of reason to celebrate.
Absolutely, and I'm assured that the new little girl has been watching ITV over the last couple of days. And Zara, you talk about people we need for the sport. Zara is such a positive for horse racing. and that next generation this great sport needs, and there's no one more enthusiastic than Zara, which everyone within the sport really appreciates.
Well, we've missed her, haven't we, this year? Because she's always here, she always turns out for the event, she looks the part, and she loves it. And it's one of the things that really bonds, of course, her and her mother, but also her and her grandmother, that love of horses.
On to carriage 3 then.
On to carriage 3, and we have the Duke and Duchess of Gloucester, neighbours to the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge over at Kensington Palace, and cousins of the Queen, and very hard working members of the royal family. Both of them work full time to support the Queen, so a real treat for them to come here today to Ascot. It's very much the Queen's way of thanking her friends and family by including them in this carriage procession, and they're joined by the Earl of Snowdon and the Countess of Snowdon, who perhaps people at home might better know as Lord David Lilly and his wife Serena. So and that of course, Lord David Lilly is the Queen's nephew.
On to number 4.
And on to carriage number 4, we've got Mr. Peter Troughton and his wife, Mrs. Peter Troughton, and Sir Marcus O'Lone and Lady O'Lone. So anyone in Norfolk will recognise the O'Lones because they are, Sir Marcus O'Lone is the Queen's land agent at Sandringham. He is otherwise known as the man who convinced Her Majesty to press her apples into fresh apple juice, which is now marketed as Sandringham's finest fresh apple juice, and I have to say I've had some which is absolutely delicious. So that's Sir Marcus O'Lone, and obviously someone who spends a lot of time with the Queen because she very much loves her Sandringham estate.
We've just outdone Ollie Bell, who's the king of trivia this week. As we learned, there was 3 miles of bunting in the Queen Anne enclosure.
Always useful to know things like that, though, isn't it?
And I love, Charlotte, on a day like today, to have the sunshine we've got bringing out the beauty of the colour, in particular of what Her Majesty the Queen's wearing.
It's so lovely, isn't it? I mean, as we said before, she so often loves to wear these bright colours because she knows that people turn out, they want to catch a glimpse of her, and this day is not going to disappoint. Just looking so glorious in the sunshine. We're really lucky with the weather today on Gold Cup Day. It really does make the most of an occasion like this, doesn't it?
I don't know if you noticed, Charlotte, there was a lot of holding of hats there as well. There is a bit of breeze today coming down.
Well, I don't know how Rachel Trevor can get her hats to fit as precisely as she does, but you're right, it is
Her Majesty
going to
doesn't
be
need
on the
to.
street.
I can guarantee the Queen's hat won't be going
It
anywhere, will
won't
it?
be moving.
There is an art to fastening them down, and it is windy out there, and you often see the Queen will have a blanket over her lap. I'm sure she'll put today because it's terribly warm, and also a clear umbrella down by her feet, because of course with our inclement British weather, you never know whether it will rain or shine, and she's always prepared for every eventuality. But the whole point of these state landaus is so that the royals are seen, and you very, very rarely see them with their roofs up.
And when they look to their right about now, that's where the new enclosure is that opened last year, the village where we started the show today. So there's a lot more people here today as a result. Around 5,000 people. It's growing all the time. It's twice as big as it was last year, and it's got a different feel to it. They're trying to get that festival feel that we experienced.
Definitely a festival vibe. You can see that through the
Music till 9 o'clock tonight, so a lot of fun will be had there.
Great
Just look at the size of the crowd, which gets bigger as the week goes on. The crowd on Saturday will be huge. Graves look less than keen to go up the walkway, leading the procession in as they now approach the grandstand. If you're watching this for the first time, and we keep talking about what a global event Ascot is, on the course and off it, all these foreign raiders who are running in the races, Americans, Australians, and so on, but it's also a global event in terms of people watching. Katie, let's talk of over 200 territories watching.
It is, and I think as much as for the horses and the racing, I think people are tuning in for the fashion. I think Ascot have worked very hard to make this a very all-inclusive event. Yes, you can love racing, but you can also love fashion. You can just turn up here and enjoy the spectacle, and if you can't be here, then as you said, you can tune in around the world and watch this wonderful show.
Does the fashion get cranked up a notch today? It's not Ladies' Day, but the public still call it ladies.
I do.
I feel so. I think the hats are bigger, the dresses are bolder.
You can certainly see the difference, and as we look around here now, there is just an explosion of colour, isn't there? Because everyone really wants to step it up today, make that extra bit of effort. And I just love, you look at the Queen, she's waving to everyone, she's looking around. She must so appreciate coming here year after year and just seeing how people turn out in great enthusiasm.
And this will be the route taken by the winner of the Gold Cup just after 4:20 this afternoon to receive that famous trophy from the Queen herself as they enter the paddock and the public get their first glimpse. One of the best things about this is the proximity. Look how close people are to these stunning carriages with the sun glinting off them. I mean, everyone these days has a camera phone and they look. Instagram stories and photos being taken of what is a spectacular sight.
We talk about the Queen, she's been coming here since 1945. She started coming as Princess Elizabeth, and imagine the changes she's seen throughout the years, but just, you've got that sense of history, that real sense of it being a truly special moment to witness here, one of those spectacular British traditions.
An unseated rider, I think, in the paddock. An ooh from the crowd. All is fine though. No problem with the carriages whatsoever.
No.
An ooh and an ah from the crowd, but it's all okay, thankfully.
And of course it was a bit frisky this morning.
Yeah, a few frisky ways like that. But also the Queen will, of course, have wonderful memories of today. And Charlotte's talking about the history of Gold Cup Day because she did have that famous winner in 2013 with Ascot. So one wonders if she does allow her mind to go back to that wonderful day.
We get a chance to tip our hats here. They come right by start position. As you say, the colours beautifully matched up. And these horses are stunning. The Cleveland Bays and the Windsor Greys we learnt about yesterday. If you were watching, we had a question about the Windsor Greys, who aren't an actual breed. They do look fabulous. And now, this is where the Queen, as I've been saying over the last couple of days, is met by Her Majesty's representative, Johnny Weatherby, who then introduces her to the trustees. We never show the Queen getting out of the carriage, but meets the trustees. And I had a question actually again to our social statement, which has been so busy, not just in this country but around the world, and a question I was asked, the trustees, I keep talking about these trustees, how are they involved with Ascot? And the answer to that question is heavily involved. After racing they have a debrief meeting in the evening, I'm told, and they're here even before ITV get here in the morning to set up the day and the plans and the discussions. And Sir Francis Brooke is one of those, and Harry Morley the other, who's in that reception line. And Sir Francis, you might remember, the Prince's Countryside Race Day here at Ascot. Best known really because Michael Owen took part in it, came second in the race, and it's a charity that's raised over £1.3 million so far. You might remember our feature that we did, a real unique feature when Bruce Scott spoke to the Prince of Wales himself, which was pretty special. And here is that line, that's Harry Morley meeting the Queen. Francis on his left there, Sir Francis on the right now, just behind Johnny Weatherby. And now being introduced to the Honourable Mrs Jenny Cavendish, who's chairman of the Stewards Committee, a familiar face really when we've shown those Stewards Inquiry live on ITV. She's a lovely lady. I'll tell you a story about a talk I did recently where she turned up, which was a bit intimidating. And Nick Smith in the glasses on the end there is the director of racing at Ascot, and he's the man who's really inspired these foreign horses coming over. I wonder if Winks' connections are thinking what might have been if they'd come to the Queen Anne, which probably wasn't a vintage renewal, but so many others. He's got Wesley Ward with his army of horses coming over. No success for Wesley so far. We've had American horses this week, and it really has become a global event. And we've got the big race on Saturday, which is basically an Ashes clash, because we've got Harry Angel for this country against Red Kurt Warrior for Australia, add in Merchant Navy for Ireland, and it is a proper global sprint on Saturday, which will be live with us. Her Majesty speaking to Johnny Weatherby there.
And Princess Anne having a conversation as well. I mean, she's a great equestrian, and there's very little that Princess Anne doesn't know about horses. And this won't be the last we see at the Royals today. I think Princesses Beatrice and Princess Eugenie are both presenting trophies later on in the day. I think that's lovely that they're included in the latter part of the day as well.
So the chairman of the Stewards Committee there, as I say, is the Honourable Mrs Cavendish, and I went to do a talk for Riding for the Disabled, and just a village hall, just randomly, I thought I can go in there and talk about whatever I want.
Yeah.
Who walks in?
The pressure was on, wasn't it?
The pressure was very much on. I couldn't quite speak the dribble that I normally would. And this Her Majesty loves. And there's on her right now, that's her racing manager. Those iconic pictures. Do you remember when Estimate won the Gold Cup? The joy on both their faces with John Warren screaming home Estimate to win the Gold Cup. And she will take a huge interest in the Gold Cup this afternoon. She'll know all about Order of St George, of course, and Stradivarius, the new kid on the block, and the French Raider. Her knowledge is extraordinary.
It's forensic, and I think she always takes great joy in presenting that cup, doesn't she? Knowing
yes.
that the winner will take that Gold Cup home and get to keep it.
That race is the highlight of the week.
The princesses look beautiful there. I'm just first chance to see their outfits in full. They look absolutely stunning. Princess Beatrice and Eugenie of York.
You can see it is very blowy out there.
It is.
You know, there is a real gust of wind.
What I love actually is that the Queen never rushes this bit, does she?
No, she
more
enjoys
than happy
it.
to spend a long time out here talking to everybody, soaking up the atmosphere.
Absolutely.
Even on a warm day like today.
And this is a paddock that changes all the time, with new flowers, and they're always trying to improve things. They never stand still at Ascot. That's where the winner of the Royal Ascot races today will come through to that winning circle. Thank you, team. Back tomorrow for day 4. Not even at half time yet, still plenty to come. And that, you have to say, is a quintessential English setting.
Thank you for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, then please give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you know whenever I upload a new video. So from me in Shropshire, goodbye.